Okay, this full moon reading actually involves a lot of different dates involving illumination. So that's why I labeled this video Culmination of Illumination. Because not only is the full moon going to be on October 24th, but also there's a few other dates I want to throw out to you. So you can write these dates down. So October 22nd in Egypt, there's a ceremony called the Abu Simbel where on the sunrise, to signify the birthday of King Ramses II, at the sunrise in the temple, the sun will be rising, illuminating just his head to signify illumination, enlightenment. So that's a big date. On October 24th is full moon, and on top of that, October 26th is Sun Venus Inferior conjunction. So Venus is having a communion with the god, so the sun god. And that's actually highlighted in the full moon reading that I'm going to give later on in this video. But next thing I want to bring up is that during this Venus in retrograde, we are giving away I'm giving away free Venus readings, 15-minute readings, to go over the Venus retrograde, how it's affecting you and how it relates to your chart. And then one more thing that I want to start doing is enlighten you to some of the books that I've been reading, or I do keep reading. So I'm going to give you a simple one, and then I'm going to give you a complicated one. So the simple one, it's a beautiful book called Magical Tour of the Night Sky, Renee Seychelles. And I've been using this book for years. I mean, it's simple, deep, and beautiful, easy, just like as a manual. Another manual I want to give you, which is quite interesting, is it's on my Kindle, Egyptian Book of the Dead. And the Book of the Dead is actually considered the Book of the Living. Because they consider time on Earth, they call the Amenta, which is the underworld, is actually the dead. So the living Earth that we're on is actually considered the dead, because your soul is dead living on Earth. So actually, the Book of the Dead is actually translated, and when you translate it, it comes up to say, coming forth of the light, coming into the light. So that's actually what, properly translated, the Book of the Dead means, coming from the light. So yeah, so let's move on to this full moon reading, because I don't want to make this video too long. So stick around for the reading. Okay, so here's the full moon chart for October 24th, and we can see the full moon goes exact at 13:06, which is 1:06. Well, it's still daylight, but that's when it goes exact. Second thing I want to point out and make sure that you know, in Sidereal Astrology, we align with the constellations as they appear in the sky. So if you notice on my chart, my constellations are all different sizes. That's because as they are in the sky, they are all different sizes. So now next part is, I only want to focus on 3 parts of this chart so that we don't make this video kind of long and overwhelming. So now, first part I want to highlight is, whenever there's a full moon, the ancients refer to the full moon, or the moon in general, as the reflector of light, meaning that it reflects the sunlight, and that's the energy that you're receiving. You're receiving a reflection of sunlight, because moonlight is actually sunlight being reflected. So I like to actually focus on what's going on with the sun during the full moon, and I kind of like what I see going on here, which is why I decided to do the video. So here's what's happening. Let's focus on this side of the chart. So as we can see here, that's the sun, okay? And that is Venus. And we all know Venus is in retrograde. On the 26th, I believe it's called the Inferior conjunction. It's when Venus and the sun are conjunct, so you can't see Venus anymore. So she's actually having her communion time with, what they say, God, right? The Son of God, the Sun, S-U-N-S-O-N. And Son of God is born to a virgin. Okay, so now we look at this. This is all happening in Virgo. And in ancient cosmology, Virgo is considered Mother Mary. Mother Mary gives birth to Jesus. And every ancient culture that has any type of star religion refers to a great divine cosmic virgin mother. So this is all taking place in that area of the sky, which I think is just amazing. Okay, so that's one thing. Next, we're gonna see here the MC. That's considered the midheaven. It's another word for just culmination. So that's basically the peak of the diurnal travel of any kind of object in the sky. So I mean, it rises to its peak and then it starts to fall. So this is a culmination right here. So I labeled this whole reading because there's a lot of other things going on that you'll see in this video. I labeled this one Culmination of Illumination. Yeah, so culmination of illumination, because Venus is conjunct the sun. So she's having her communion time with the sun. So next I want to point out, which is really important, is Saturn. At the time of the full moon, Saturn is rising. Okay, so Saturn, I don't want to spend too much time, but we all know Saturn is the lord of the time. So the rising, this is like the rising, it will be rising at the time, is the strongest, one of the strongest parts of the sky for a planet, because it's just being reborn again. So it's full of vital energy of the planetary influence. And it's in Sagittarius, which is the wise centaur. So what this is telling me is that Saturn, and it's also given support to the Sun Venus, right? It's a sextile, and it's also a trine to the Moon Uranus conjunction. So Saturn is actually supporting this whole process, saying that the time is true time tested. You know, this is the true test of time. So Venus is going on trial. You know, that whole journey of Inanna, the descent of Inanna. So yeah, so time tested. You know, this is really strong. So so we don't make this video too long. Let's move on to, now we discuss what's happening, right? So now we're gonna go over to the moon and see what's happening with the moon. So the moon, I don't know what tropical astrologers are saying, because tropical astrologers kind of drive me nuts. But anyway, moon conjunct Uranus. Okay, so it's intuitive, creative, liberative, like liberation insight. You know, quick stroke of insight is what we're going to be seeing with this, because Uranus is that quick awakener. It's that insight, that creative stroke of insight. And the moon is the reflector of all the light that's going on here. So this is going to be a new cycle, because you can see here Pisces is the end of the zodiac wheel, and Aries is the beginning. So we're just on the cusp between Aries and Pisces. So yeah, there's a new cycle that's going to happen, and it's going to be this like liberation after this great kind of judgment day of Venus. So that's about the gist of the full moon forecast.